नहीं। काफी लोग रहेंगे उसके अंदर।
Hi, Christopher. The meeting is streaming right now. I have shared the link with Mr. Sandeep.
Poor internet connection.
Sudhir? Sir, can you make me the host now?
Yeah, sure. Please add me as a co-host. Christopher, you are host now. Please add me as a co-host.
Okay, sir, done. Thank you.
Christopher, you are host now. Please add me as a co-host.
I already did.
Thank you.
Staff with in-depth and explicit knowledge and skill upgradation. Our collaborative learning model, well-structured and specially designed programs make sure that innovation happens daily at Merrill Academy.
This is really, I'm really impressed. This is really top notch of the educational process. One thing is when you hear something, and second thing when you come and see and feel, meet all these people.
I hope we can collaborating with the Indonesian Associate Hip and Knee Surgery.
People who are pioneer in their respective field from different parts of the world to come under one roof and share knowledge is an excellent approach in carrying this medical education forward.
Academy, structure-wise, infrastructure, arrangement is very good and it's great.
I feel very proud that in India we have such a beautiful center, which is no less, maybe more than any international center.
It's very far away from my beyond.
The teaching is excellent and the organization of this course is quite good.
It's a very great place for education.
Modern facility for training and education.
I can recommend to my colleagues to come here and to get it.
And get to, sky's the limit.
Our vision is to transform patient care through professional education to ensure that more patients live longer and healthier life. We are Merrill Academy, and we believe knowledge is future.
Several studies have shown that an infection is caused by the presence of millions of bacteria per gram of tissue in the body. Surgical sutures can get contaminated by bacteria present in the environment or through the patient's own normal flora. It is now widely accepted that a suture material provides a nidus for microbial adherence and can lead to wound contamination. Surgical site infection, SSI, occurs when pathogens proliferate in surgical wounds, resulting in an impedance to wound healing. When suture is implanted, a coating of protein is formed around the suture, which becomes a site for bacterial colonization. This further leads to a biofilm formation on the suture surface, allowing the bacteria to resist the phagocytic activity of the leukocytes. This condition thereby leads to a prolonged infective state because the formed biofilm is capable of resisting the activity of systemic or topical antibiotics. This biofilm formation can even lead to an aggravated state of antibiotic recalcitrance, where the bacteria present inside the biofilm attain the capacity to survive even under higher antibiotic concentration due to formation of an isolated state. Today, SSI is highly prevalent among surgical patients around the world. It is rated as the most frequent complication in this patient population, being responsible for 38% of infections, and majority of the SSI are caused by Staphylococcus species of bacteria. Thus, SSI has become one of the major concerns among hospitalized patients. As per evidence, SSI is associated with high clinical and economic burden, increasing hospital stay of patients by up to 3 to 20 days. SSI is also associated with a mortality rate of 3%, and 75% of the SSI-associated deaths are directly attributable to the SSI. There is a significant relationship between SSI and diabetic patients. Hyperglycemia is controlled for surgery or during hospital stay, but majority of the patients fail to manage it after discharge. Keeping in mind all the problems which are responsible for surgical site infection, a new approach was developed to reduce complications of SSI. This approach should help us to prevent these major problems. Antibacterial sutures have proven to overcome the serious problem of SSI by preventing bacterial colonization, which will further not allow biofilm formation and antibacterial recalcitrance. We affirmed this by conducting a test at our laboratory with Mitsu AB antibacterial suture and plain suture. Petri plates were inoculated with bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus or E. coli. In the result, plain suture was surrounded by bacterial colonization, whereas a shield was formed around Mitsu AB suture, which protects the suture from bacterial colonization. In this zone of inhibition, bacteria did not grow around the suture, which is coated with antimicrobial agent triclosan. This shows that triclosan in Mitsu AB inhibits and does not allow bacterial growth and bacterial colonization on sutures. It offers a safety shield. Mitsu AB is a braided absorbable suture made up of biodegradable polymer, that is, polyglactin 910, and is coated with powerful antimicrobial agent triclosan. Mitsu AB provides reducing bacterial colonization, biofilm formation, reducing antibiotic usage, reducing chances of hospital readmission, reducing the length of hospital stay, and hence the economic burden, reducing complication in diabetic and immune-compromised patients. Mitsu AB provides a safety shield and helps to reduce the problems associated with SSI.
Good morning to each and every one of you, and welcome to our webinar for today in association with Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery. And we will discuss the current international trends and solutions. Current international surgical trends and solutions. Again, welcome each and everyone. First, we will play a video for our national anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, telas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuyak ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong bagaw, ay ginatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magtitindig, luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Again, thank you and good morning to each and every one of us. And now, I welcome our President for the Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery, Ms. Dr. Joseph Melbert Gulfan, the President of the Association, to give us a welcome message before we start our webinar. Dr. Gulfan, if Dr. Gulfan. Doctor, you can turn your video on. Dr. Gulfan. A few minutes while we wait for Dr. Gulfan. everyone. Just a technical glitch. We will start at, we'll wait for everyone to come in first as Dr. Gulfan. And we will just play a few videos before anything else.
Today, human lives are greatly affected by serious health challenges. In the modern times, health is no more an individual's concern. It requires a lot of care and support. Every day, doctors, patients, and nurses in over 140 countries trust us to overcome these complex and daunting health challenges. We are a global medical device company committed to create a healthier world and simply one happy community. Our culture of in-depth research forms the basis for innovations that can overcome these challenges and alleviate human suffering. Our family of designers, engineers, microbiologists work together to deliver state-of-the-art solutions that are effective, efficient, and never without a human touch. We innovate across the spectrum of healthcare solutions, from vascular interventional devices to orthopedics, in vitro diagnostics, and endosurgery, all under one roof. To us, healthcare is not simply about enabling recoveries. It's about transforming lives and healing humanity. At Merrill, we understand what it means to bring more to life because we do it around the world, every day, every hour, every second. Where there is Merrill, there is more.
An institution dedicated to make life healthy again. We believe in creating a sustainable ecosystem for the world where knowledge is everything at Merrill Academy. We wish to empower doctors and paramedical staff with in-depth and explicit knowledge and skill upgradation. Our collaborative learning model, well-structured and specially designed programs make sure that innovation happens daily at Merrill Academy.
This is really, I'm really impressed. This is really top-notch of the educational process. One thing is when you hear something, and second thing when you come and see and feel and meet all these people.
I hope we can collaborating with the Indonesians associate hip and knee surgery.
People who are pioneer in their respective field from different parts of the world to come under one roof and share knowledge is an excellent approach in carrying this medical education forward.
academy, structure-wise, infrastructure, arrangement is very good and it's great.
I feel very proud that in India we have such a beautiful center, which is no less, maybe more than any international center.
It's very far away from my beyond.
The teaching is excellent and the organization of this course is quite good.
It's a very great place for education.
Modern facility for training and education.
I can recommend to my colleagues to come here and to get it.
And get to, sky's the limit.
Our vision is to transform patient care through professional education to ensure that more patients live longer and healthier life. We are Merrill Academy, and we believe knowledge is future.
Several
Good morning, Dr. Gulfan, ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Doctor, I welcome to you, everyone, the President of Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery, Dr. Joseph Melbert Gulfan.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to our counterparts and friends in India. We would like to welcome all of you to this product presentation and a little academic learning. And we would like to thank the leadership of Pharmastar and Merrill in Philippines and India for taking time to organize this webinar, and supported by the Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery and various training programs throughout the country. For and in behalf of the Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery, Board of Directors and members of PATOS, as we call it, I would like to welcome all of you to this academic learning this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for the welcome message. And now I would like you also to hear a welcome message from the CEO and Chairman of Pharmastar International Trading Corporation, Mr. Chandru Jainani.
Hello, I'm Chandru Jainani, Chairman of Pharmastar International Trading Corporation. I want to welcome each of you to this event organized by Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery with the collaboration of Pharmastar and Merrill Endosurgery, as we tackle topics of current international trends and solutions. This collaboration will help each and every one of us understand and further our knowledge in the endosurgical field. We at Pharmastar are honored to be part of this Monument online event through Zoom and Facebook Live. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chandru Jainani, for the welcome message. And now, I hand over to Mr. Deepak Sharma, the General Manager for Marketing of International Sales for Merrill Endosurgery, and his welcome for us all today.
Good morning and welcome all the doctor friends from Philippines. I'll attempt to welcome you in Filipino language. Maligayang pagdating. Pardon me for the pronunciation if it's not as per what is been spoken about. I'm Deepak Sharma. I'm the General Manager Marketing for Endosurgery Merrill. And I would like to thank Dr. Gulfan, the PATOS organization, and Pharmastar for making this event possible, which is our first interaction officially on a collaboration of Merrill with the Philippine doctors. And we look forward to associate more in future as well. In my talk today, I will be giving you a brief overview what Merrill is all about. And the detailed segment-wise discussion will be done by my colleagues who will be following the next talks. If you look at Merrill, which is India-based manufacturing hub with a global medical company, the sole purpose was to develop, manufacture, and distribute clinically relevant, state-of-art products which will alleviate human suffering and improve the quality of life. This was the core foundation of the organization. It's located 3.5 hours away from Mumbai towards north of India, which is our core central manufacturing hub and the headquarters. A little bit brief, this is the organization which is developed by the first generation entrepreneurs, the Bilakia Group, and they started the business with the printing inks, which is used for currency, and also on agri-chemicals, which was further bought by the German organization Huber and Bayer. And post this buyout, the company reinvented itself into different segments with this core value system in the place on healthcare, education system. So we are imparting a lot of underprivileged rural area kids education. We're supporting them on sponsorships. There are a lot of social programs we are doing as well, apart from the core manufacturing on healthcare. So we started with the inception of vascular surgery, which is our core business area since 2007. And in India, as well as in some of the countries worldwide, we are among the top 5 in this segment. We then subsequently have orthopedic surgical, which talks about knee and hip replacement system and trauma products, a huge range of diagnostic products, and the endosurgery, which started in 2013-14 period, which we will talk more in detail in the coming slides, which we are representing. So if you look at the entire spectrum as an organization, it's a very vastly diverse business conglomerate from India. To give a synopsis, we have more than 4,500 employees at the current stage, and we are operating in more than 100 countries worldwide, with 50% almost revenue coming from our export business. All the products are having high quality standards, which are approved by DCGI, CE, US FDA, Korean FDA, Australian, Russia, TGA, Canada, Japan, PMDA. So which means that since we are a global company, we are meeting, when we are registered in most of the countries worldwide, which are advanced countries, the quality standards are well maintained. And as an organization, we are evolving and expanding worldwide, and we have our own direct subsidiaries in more than 10 countries worldwide. And in the rest of the 90+ countries, we have our strong distribution partners, like in Philippines, we have Pharmastar, so which gives assurance of the services. When you buy Merrill products, you get a assurance of service at the local level as well. As I said, all products are meeting all the quality standards, whether it's CGMP or ISO standards or WHO GMP standards or US FDA 510K approvals, CE. So we have all those products complying to the global acclaimed quality standards. Merrill has been recognized by Indian Association and the like Frost & Sullivan for the last many years on various achievements. We have done very many first products to introduce, which just shows that we are on the right path. If I'll tell you the brief synopsis of what does our portfolio we're talking today on endosurgery. It comprises of 5 major product lines: sutures, which is a bigger product portfolio, followed by endomechanical staplers, which are laparoscopic generally and some open. Hernia repair solutions, probably we are among the few companies worldwide to offer a comprehensive range of hernia repair products. Biosurgical hemostats, and the IODs, intrauterine devices. I'm just giving you a brief. I'm not going to go in detail on this, which will be subsequently handled by my colleagues. We have an entire range of sutures from basics to the advanced stage. Here, I would like to highlight the Mitsu AB, this antibacterial suture. Probably Merrill is the only company in the world which can give you a choice of using 2 variations of antibacterial sutures. One is with triclosan coated and the another one with chlorhexidine. So you have more choice coming from the same stable of products. A range of staplers for different needs, comprehensive hernia repair solutions as per each surgeon's choice of product they want to use. And if you look at the core, why Merrill is accepted worldwide in many of the countries, as I said, high quality standards, more than 1 lakh classified manufacturing facility, which ensures that all the products that you get are absolutely compliant to the international standards of manufacturing as well. For any organization to grow year on year, it also needs to have a strong R&D base, because one, you have a good product, but what do you do for the future generations to come? We have a dedicated R&D complex where we have more than 100 people working in this department, and we are evolving new products in every year. So, for example, in sutures, we have the upcoming launches, PTFE sutures, which are for vascular as well as dental application. And we are probably one of the few companies, or the second company, who has got the controlled release sutures, which means you don't have to cut the sutures, but you can jerk it off and the needle gets detached from the thread. The controlled release sutures. Then we're also launching barb sutures, C-section bunch, various kits available, which will make the life of surgeons and doctors easier, and also for the nursing staff. Staplers. So as I said, these are all part of R&D new development, variations on laparoscopic and linear cutters, and different forms with different benefits, which I'm not going to detail because this will be handled by my other colleagues. Ultrasonic systems. And in hernia, these are new advancements looking up to the new techniques that are being evolved. The core foundation, apart from the manufacturing facility and the R&D, is also the academy, which is what Merrill believes very strongly into. And as you would have seen the videos, we have been very, very active in this program of conducting trainings to the doctors, for paramedical staff across the year. It's a very well managed and very well built infrastructure of library, simulation room, a conference hall where we have multiple seating capacities. And you have to see it to believe it, the kind of infrastructure we have created here as a support to the medical fraternity. Merrill, as I said, is very strongly committed to educational support. And last year in September, we did our first Endosurgery World Congress, which was participated by more than 200 surgeons from across the world, and which is something we keep doing for cardiology as well as orthopedics. So almost like 10 to 12 such programs we do for our various segments in a year, apart from the conferences that we participate. So more than 10,000 healthcare professionals has been trained in this particular academic facility so far. We do also remain present in many of the international reputed conferences, whether it's EHS, EACTS, ESCP, and since the global lockdown, I would say we have been quite active on the webinars as well. So we've done more than 70 such webinars so far with different countries to support. So it's just to give you an idea that we are quite an active organization who is not only selling the products, but also having an ecosystem which supports the healthcare professionals from all the sides of product line. And because of our efforts and the direction we're being, we have a lot of surgeons. These are some of the renowned global surgeons who are associated with Merrill so far and actively involved in the product development stage as well. So in all, Merrill Endosurgery is a company which has got more than 42 brands product, 6,000 SKUs, 12 new R&D products under pipeline, covering all the therapeutic segments, right from a ENT surgeon, dental surgeon to a cardiovascular or a liver transplant surgeon as well. A very well established and equipped academy, global sales force across, and a company which is quite agile. I want to highlight this part of agility because as an organization which is leaner and fast, many times it's important for customers to realize that you are talking to a company and company is listening to you. Because in last couple of years, we have brought out many products which have been developed post the feedback from doctors like you, and we have improvised on the current product marketing, product markets in the countries, and created a new versions which are more user-friendly and more clinically relevant for that. So this speed of getting a new product developed in a year or two's time makes us a little agile to support the customer's requirements. And with this, the core philosophy that we want to give high quality products at the affordable price so that no human being is compromised on using a high quality product on the price pressures. And with this, I would like to thank you for this opportunity and look forward to interact more in subsequent slides. My colleagues will be talking more on the product lines, but this is how overall what the Merrill is all about. Thank you, Dr. Gulfan and everybody for patiently hearing. Over to you, Christopher.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deepak. And now we will go to the first session. And our speaker is the prominent manager of international marketing, Dr. Shraddha Rawrani. And she will speak to us, or she will talk to us about the current international market and the way we interact, or the way they will share with us their practices in India. Doctor?
Good morning, Christopher. Thank you so much for the introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay, Christopher. Thanks a lot. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Yes. So good morning to all of you from PETOS. It's an honor and privilege to connect with all of you. Good morning, Dr. Gulfan. Namaste from me from India. So I'm here today to discuss about certain things related to how India as a country has evolved into the manufacturing of endosurgery, how we have come up when it comes to sutures as a product which is very important when it comes to endosurgical arena. So I'm here to talk about things related to that, as well as to give you a glimpse about Merrill Endosurgery suture products. So I would like to start my presentation. So first of all, trying to understand what is the market size value overall of the entire suture market worldwide. So if we say it ranges to about 4,000 million US dollars, which is quite a good market size. That means that the usage of sutures in endosurgery is quite a prominent product. And it's the most commonest thing in endosurgery that has been used, the most researched thing, and obviously the most evolved thing, because the sutures right in the olden times when it started with catguts and silk, and today we are at control release needles and barbed sutures, and today we are at PTFE sutures and many other new products in the market. So the growth rate has been really impressive. It has been around 6.5% CAGR, which is definitely, that's the reason this is a product to be well understood and gone in details to be understood. Going further, I would like to tell you in brief about the history of sutures in India, starting with the olden times. Like really olden times in 1600s BC. So since then, India has been interestingly working with surgeries. So we had old time surgeons and physicians such as Charaka, Sushruta. These are just few names to take, but there were many others. But these were the prominent people who have written a lot of manuscripts and a lot of books related to surgery from olden India. Since the olden age, they have been using a lot of products, such as, interestingly, they used to use the head of beetles or ants to effectively staple the wounds and shut them. Other natural materials that they used were flax, hair, grass, cotton, silk, pig bristles, and animal gut. So there were many such innovative products at that time when there was nothing available, were used in India, and Charaka was one of the pioneers of surgery in India. So Shruta was one of the pioneers of surgery in India. So interestingly, these people were doing it at that point of time. Gradually, things evolved, and today, India, we stand proud in Merrill as a manufacturer, one of the biggest manufacturers in Asia Pacific for sutures. And we take pride in having, a big manufacturing unit wherein we are able to cater to highest of orders, the biggest number of orders easily, because we do have a vertical integration in place in our plant. So I would like to tell you more about this and make you understand about how the things work when it comes to sutures and mirror. Going further, we would first try and understand as to what are the properties of a suture, which basically a surgeon looks forward to when he would want to handle a suture or when he would want to use a suture. He would first try and understand its physical properties, the way it is handled, how easy it is to handle, and what are the biological properties of the suture. So obviously, when it comes to physical properties, the tensile strength, dimensions, the knot pull strength, the knot security, the stiffness of the suture really matters. When it comes to the handling, that means while working, how the suture needs to be handled. So the knot tie down, the first throw hold, the tissue drag, the package memory is very, very important. The suppleness of the suture really matters a lot. And the third and most important aspect, not to leave, is the biological property of the suture, in which I must mention tissue reaction, absorption, biocompatibility, and tensile strength loss of the suture over a period of time, as in how it is required. All of these aspects are very important when it comes to choosing a suture by a surgeon. So all standard test procedures and product specifications are set by the US Pharmacopoeia. Basically, US Pharmacopoeia has given certain guidelines for the sutures, for various sutures and various sizes. And Merrill is bound to follow these guidelines. We make sure that we follow these guidelines. Moving further, I would like to also touch base upon the suture selection criteria. So basically, as I said, how is a suture selected? So whenever a surgeon selects a suture, he first thinks about the surgical procedure he's going to have, whether it's a big size, a small size, whether the suture is needed for a longer wound or a shorter wound. Next, going further, the tissues to be approximated are very important, whether they are soft, friable tissues, whether they are tough tissues, whether they are smooth tissues, whether they are blood vessels, and many other considerations. Third important thing is the suture sizing. The size of the suture matters a lot when it comes to the different tissues that need to be anastomosed. So starting from size 5, which is the biggest size, usually size 2, 3 are used in humans, starting with 2, 3, and then going down. Surgeries like cardiovascular, we have sizes from 30, 40, 50, 60, which are used. And then going further, we also have very, very tiny sizes in ophthalmology, such as 90, 10, 11. Suture type and length is also very, very important, or the different materials of the suture that are to be used. And the length of the suture, of course, it's very important to understand depending on the wound size. Third, most important consideration is needle curvature. So the needles are available in multiple sized curvatures. They are straight, they are half circle, they are 1/4 circle, they are 5x8 circle, there are multiple sizes and types of needle curvatures available. These depend on the place where the surgery is done, obviously. The needle point profile is very important because the penetration of the needle in the right place without a lot of tissue trauma is very, very important. The needle length matters a lot because the tissue that has to be anastomosed needs the right kind and the right size of needle. Moving further, understanding in brief about the suture sizing and usages. So as I said, the suture sizing ranges from 10-0 to 5. So 10-0 is typically used for very, very delicate surgeries such as ophthalmology, or ophthalmology is the main focus where these are used. 9-0, 8-0 are used for small damaged vessels and some plastic surgeries, of course. 7-0 and further, 7-0, 6-0 used for repairing small vessels and arteries, that is the cardiovascular usage in smaller vessels. 6-0 is commonly used in vascular grafting sewing, which you must have heard a lot in procedures like CABG. 4-0, 5-0 are used for larger vessel repairs, such as the abdominal aorta, because these are big vessels, they need a bigger size suture. 3-0 is used in skin closure, where there's a lot of tension in the tissue, closure of muscle layer. It is used because these are smooth layers, but they are tough, and they're actually, they need quite a strong suture to hold them in place because there's a lot of usage. Then going further to 2-0, repair of bowels in general surgery, the joint capsules in the knee. Closing of the fascial layer in the abdominal surgery, fascial closure, hip surgery, and deep layers in the back surgery. Repairs of tendons or other high tension structures in large orthopedic surgeries, we usually use the 2 size, and the 5 size, which is one of the largest sizes, is used in orthopedic surgeries. So this is the overall overview of how and what the suture has to be selected, what are the criteria. We will now try and understand the types. So mainly, quite a lot, the usage of absorbable sutures. Basically, absorbable sutures are of 2 types, monofilament suture and braided suture. So under the monofilament sutures, we have 3 major variants. One is the polydioxanone sutures, one is the polyglycopron sutures, and Merrill is also coming up with the polydioxanone antibacterial sutures, which is the new variant that we are coming up with. When it comes to braided sutures, where the strength is quite a lot important, we use braided sutures. The knot pull strength is very important, and the hold of the knot is very important. That's where the braided sutures are preferred. And the braided absorbable sutures are of different types. If you may say, there are 2 major variants in them. One is the polyglycolic acid suture, which was a previous, it's a previous version. It's kind of used for a very long time. And the more evolved and the more latest of version is the polyglactin 910 suture. We would go ahead and understand a little more in details about them, although I would like to mention them here. These both polyglycolic acid and polyglactin 910 sutures are available in the antibacterial versions, and polyglycolic acid and polyglactin are also available in the fast version, fast absorbable version, which is used usually for small procedures such as episiotomies and gynecology, etc. Going further, we try to understand a little more in detail about all of these materials and how these materials are manufactured. What is the kind of material that's used for coating them? So I would like to quote the brand names here. So Mitsu is the brand name for the polyglactin 910 that Merrill uses. So Mitsu is the brand name. Mitsu in itself has become a family of sutures. Why? Because polyglactin is available in various versions, such as polyglactin C+, which is the Mitsu C+. We have the polyglactin triclosan coated suture, which is the Mitsu AB. We have the polyglactin fast suture, which is the Mitsu fast suture. So this entirely forms the family of polyglactin sutures. The polyglactin sutures, that is the Mitsu, is coated with calcium stearate as the basic coating. So calcium stearate gives it strength, as well as it gives it a smooth layer and coating, so that the suture holds in place and gives a very, very good not security. So the coating material then varies into polyglactin 370, which is the common one, but the other material varies, such as if it's a C+, it is coated with chlorhexidine, which is the antimicrobial agent. If it's AB, it is coated with triclosan, which is the antimicrobial agent, which is, again, the latest version of in today's world. Although chlorhexidine is still used in quite a lot of countries, and that's the reason Merrill has not stopped its production. Merrill is still continuing to produce it and manufacture it. And Merrill takes pride in one of those few companies who have chlorhexidine sutures as well in the market as an option for the surgeons if they are willing to use chlorhexidine and not triclosan. Going further, the MitsuFast is again coated with a similar suture coated like Mitsu with calcium citrate and polyglactin 370. And when it comes to the wound support and tensile strength of Mitsu, so other than the fast version, the other Mitsus are usually absorbed completely only after 56 to 70 days, which is its absorption profile. The wound support is 75% till 14 days. That means that till 14 days, 75% of the suture is in place. And it's 50% at 21 days. That means till 21 days, 50% of the suture is in place, which gives quite a long wound support and as much as is required. The Mitsu C+ and AB is very, very similar. The absorption profile is same as that of Mitsu because the difference is only of the coating of antibacterial layer. The MitsuFast is different here, wherein we have 50% of it absorbed in 5 days. And the absorption profile is 40 to 42 days. The difference here is MitsuFast is coated with gamma radiations and other Mitsu versions are coated with ethylene oxide. Similarly, we have a polyglycolic acid family profile in which we have the Megazov Plus, which is coated with chlorhexidine, and Megazov T+, which is coated with triclosan, and another form, which is the Megazov Rapid, which is similar to the MitsuFast, which have similar absorption profiles. So I will not go more into details of Megazov because they are very similar to the Mitsu version. But then Mitsu is the latest one, the latest suture, which is quite preferred by many doctors because of its composition. It's a polyglactin 9:1:0. That means the 90:10 ratio is achieved when it comes to glycolic acid and lactide, as against the Megazorb, which is the polyglycolic acid, pure polyglycolic acid suture. And that's why the knot pull strength is much better in Mitsu. Going further and understanding the absorbable sutures, which are monofilament. So we have the Filaprone, which is a polyglycaprone suture, which is again a monofilament suture. The absorption profile ranges quite high, which goes to 90 to 110 days. That means the suture gives support for a very, very long time. So next, going further, understanding about the wound support, it is 60 to 90% at 7 days. That means up to 7 days, 60 to 90% of the suture is totally in place. Filaxin, which is another variant, which is composed of polydioxanone. So polydioxanone suture, basically, the wound support is 60% at 28 days. And this has the longest absorption profile. So in polydioxanone suture, Merrill has the brand Filaxin, has the longest absorption profile, which is 180 to 210 days. We also do have the catgut sutures, which are preferred quite a lot in many countries still. Although there are new variants in the market, but still a lot of surgeons prefer the catgut for certain reasons. Of course, it is economical, and at the same time, it has its own qualities. So Merisoft Plain, which is made of submucosa, sheep submucosa, it's basically a natural absorbable monofilament suture. The wound support lasts about 7 to 10 days, which is unique of it. And the absorption profile is 60 to 90 days. That means it takes quite a long time to get absorbed completely, which is its disadvantage to some extent. Merisoft Chromic is basically the same catgut with a chromium layer to it. The chromium layer is basically added to increase the absorption profile and the wound support, and also the tensile strength of the suture. So Basically, Medisoft Chromic is also natural absorbable suture, and its wound support lasts 21 to 28 days, and absorption profile goes from 90 to 120 days. Moving further in understanding the non-absorbable variants, the FilaSilk is basically the silk suture. It is coated with wax. It is a non-absorbable braided suture, as we all know. Silk sutures are used in multiple places where we want the suture to be in place to give a good strength and not to fray easily. Although we have better versions of silk sutures come up in the market, and Merrill is also abreast with it. Merrill has also come up with beautiful, better versions, newer versions. We have also come up with EPTFE sutures, which are newer and better versions. Filamide is the polyamide, that is a nylon suture. So it's made and composed of nylon. It's a synthetic, non-absorbable monofilament suture. Its most important characteristic, its elasticity. And at the same time, its strength. Nylon suture is, you must be knowing that the property of a nylon thread, its strength is good enough to hold a tissue in place. Moving further to Filaprop, which is the polypropylene suture. The polypropylene suture is basically one of the most inert materials. You can say that it's the ideal suture material. So polypropylene is the ideal suture material. Why? Because it is elastic, very elastic. At the same time, it is inert. It does not react with the tissues at all. And at the same time, it gives a very good strength to the tissues. So usually quite a lot used in cardiovascular procedures. Going further to Medicron XL. Medicron XL is basically a polyester suture. So polyester basically is polyethylene terephthalate, and the coating material is polybutyrate. Medicron XL is a suture which is usually a braided suture, and it is given a smoothness by its wax coating. And after the coating of the wax, the suture becomes smooth enough to go through the tissues easily. Usually Medicron XL with Pledget, the Pledgeted suture is used for the valve replacement surgeries, most predominantly, and also is used in quite a lot of orthopedic surgeries. And also pediatric sternal closures, this is a preferred suture. Going further in understanding about the Merrill steel suture, the stainless steel suture of Merrill is interestingly made with 300 series alloy. So whenever you decide between a steel suture of different companies, I would recommend you should go for a suture which is made with a 300 series alloy. And one more important characteristic and suture property that you should consider is the swage point of a steel suture. So usually there are a lot of companies in the market who do channel swaging, but Merrill believes in better outcomes and also well-researched innovations, and that's the reason we have come up with laser welding technology for the Merrill steel suture. So usually what we do is we weld this suture directly into the needle with laser welding, and not just do a swaging by crimping method. The difference that it creates is basically a very, very smooth surface. Because it's laser welding, it creates a smooth surface, and at the same time, it gives a very good strength to the swage point. So the needle and the suture will not easily be separated, because usually a steel suture is used for very, very tough tissues. So there are chances that it gets separated. So that's the reason why the welded suture always is far preferred as compared to a channel swaged suture. As I said, just to give you a brief overview, the different brands of Merrill, which include these components or these molecules, are, as I said, polyglactin 910 is Mitsu, polyglycapron is Filapron, polydioxanone is Filaxin, polypropylene is Filaprop, the silk suture is FilaSilk, we have polyamide in the name of Filamide, we have Megazorb in the name of, for the polyglic acid suture. We have, for the polyester suture, we have the Medicron XL. For the steel, we have Meristeel. For the catgut, we have Medisoft Plain and Medisoft Chromic suture. These are how the sutures look like. So just to give you an overview of them, how they look like, the Filaxane, Mitsu, Megazorb, Filapron, Mitsu family. This is how the Mitsu family is. The Mitsu suture, the fast, Mitsu fast suture, Mitsu antibacterial, C+ suture. So this is how the details of it. We have already discussed these details, but just to give you a brief about them. So the polyglactin sutures, basically they're midterm absorbable braided coated sutures. Some of the C plus is coated with chlorhexidine. The AB is coated with triclosan. We will go and understand a little more about triclosan because we are short of time. So we understand about the triclosan coated suture. So it's a midterm absorbable braided coated suture with antibacterial agent triclosan. So the best property of triclosan, it creates a wonderful zone of inhibition around the suture. So the promise of the suture is, interestingly, not that it will not allow any kind of surgical infection at all. But the promise, the most important promise of an antibacterial suture is it will not allow the bacteria to be lodged on the surface of the suture. That is the promise. And that is created because of a beautiful zone of inhibition. As you can see in this slide, there is a beautiful zone of inhibition created as against regular suture by the antibacterial suture, that is the MITSU-AB. The retention and the mass absorption is very, very similar to that of the original polygalactin suture, that is the MITSU. And that's the reason why it has a smooth rundown texture, it has high knot holding capability, which are very similar properties as the MITSU. But the triclosan coated suture has an added advantage of zone of inhibition. So basically, just to understand and give you an idea, the antibacterial market in India is around 180 crores. The PGLA, PGA, antibacterial polydioxanone, polyglycapron are the various molecules which are used in antibacterial versions in India. And the commonly used versions, coatings are triclosan and chlorhexidine. These are the two options, but triclosan has come up really well and triclosan has made its mark in the market. Although chlorhexidine is still used quite a lot. Triclosan is more preferred over chlorhexidine because of its wide spectrum, because it actually works on wide spectrum of bacteria, Staphylococcus aureus, the methicillin resistant variants also of them, the Klebsiellas. Then we have this other bacteria, a lot of other variants on which the triclosan coated variant works better. And it has a larger zone of inhibition as compared to the chlorhexidine variant of the suture. That's the reason why it is more preferred. Giving you an overview about the suture usage, why an antibacterial suture? So it is widely accepted across all specialties. Most of the time, obs-gynec surgeons, gastroenterologists, gastric surgeons, the orthopedic surgeons, the oncologists, the neurosurgeons, the cardiac surgeons, and a lot of surgeons prefer it for various procedures. Cardiac surgeons, to say by that, the smooth muscle closure is usually preferred by the MITSU-AB suture. More ideal for immunocompromised patients. Why? Because they already lack the immunity and the chances of the surgical site infection is quite high. So used for incisional wounds are categorized as contaminated wounds. The places where obviously the wound is going to be contaminated, places such as accidents or urogenital closures or places like the colon surgeries, this suture has to be used. Why? Because already it's a clean contaminated wound. The use of accidental injuries, as I said, and exposure to infection, where antibacterial sutures have to be preferred. It ensures a safe and effective healing post the surgery. That is very, very important. We'll just try and understand in brief of various bacteria. So here in this table, you can find various bacteria as a methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, epidermidis, then Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, and the Bacillus subtilis. These are the various bacteria which are basically prevented by the MITSU-AB. And a study was done internally wherein we tested various strands of the same suture, and we found out that the suture is coated uniformly. That's one very important criteria whenever you select a suture. The suture needs to be coated uniformly across the strand properly with the antibacterial coating so that all parts of the suture are evenly having the zone of inhibition in place. Going further to understand more about surgical needles. So surgical needle is a very important criteria what the surgeons consider when it comes to buying suture or trying to understand sutures. Surgical needles are basically, there's a lot of small nitty-gritties when it comes to adopting some strategy of manufacturing. The strategies that Merit adopts while manufacturing surgical needles is we have special stronger alloys, that is the 300 series alloys, as I said previously. Most important thing is we have 12:1 taper ratio for better penetration. What is the 12:1 ratio? Is basically the tip to the body ratio. The tip of the needle to the body. The tip will be 1 and the body will be 12. So that is the kind of ratio which is used for effective penetration without more of a tissue loss, or you can say more of a tissue damage. So needles are usually coated with a special formulation which ensures that the coating wears off significantly slower than the other needles, assuring repeated smooth passage through the tissues. Flat body design for firm gripping, high penetration needle profile. So the Merrill's advantage here is that the needles and the sutures are adhesive-free and clipped in place. They reduce contamination, tugging and tangling. The needles are packed in a needle park, which is beautifully done. We do have low memory tray and no memory tray designs. We have square-bodied needles, and we have unique point designs to improve penetration. No increase in tissue trauma compared to conventional round body needles because we have square body needles and it holds the needle in place. Used for anastomosis and cardiac and other vascular surgeries for tough calcified vessels. So these are the variants of suture needles that we have manufactured: the HV Himovas, the V Black needle, the calcified coronary needle, the ultrapoint needle, Merrill smooth needle. Every needle has its own unique properties. So every needle has its own way and places where it is used. We do have certain products such as the veterinary sutures, new products that have come in the market by Merrill, the surgical kits and the square body needles. I would like to brief you with a few very important, interesting aspects. The EPTFE suture, that is expandable. PTFE is soft, light foam suture. The barbed suture are the spiral symmetric sutures, which are under development, and we have manufactured them. They're ready for evaluation whenever you want to evaluate them. We have the antibacterial suture variants in all families coming up. We have cesarean section suture bunch, which is a palm-sized bunch in which we have multiple sutures in place in a palm-sized bunch, which can be used for one particular surgery. Similarly, we have the TKHR bunch and the in LMT packaging. Next, most important is the control release suture, that is used for spine surgery, laparoscopic surgery, where easy removal of the suture is easy. It's done. So basically, the product name is the Record, that is the EPTFE suture, where we have the expandable polytetrafluoroethylene surgical suture, which is a foamy texture. This is a new product that we have come up with, which is quite preferred when it comes to as against the silk suture. So it is a light product variant, and it can be used in multiple surgeries, and the list is endless. Next, most important is the control release suture, wherein the needle is held securely in the needle holder, and the suture is grasped securely just below the needle and pulling the strand taut. So basically, this control release suture helps to release the needle very easily after the suturing is done. And then the needle is released with a straight tug to the needle holder. So just one tug to the needle holder and the needle is released from the suture. So control release suture is basically used in spine surgeries, laparoscopic surgeries, where easy removal of suture from the needle is very, very important. And that is what Merrill has also manufactured. We have manufactured a control release needle for various sutures variants. The pinion PGA suture is basically our barbed suture. So barbed suture is a revolutionary technology which eliminates the need of the knots. So you can close the incision up to 50% faster because we don't have to do a knotting out there. It's a knotless suture. And it is quite widely used by many surgeons now. I would also recommend the surgeons in Philippines to take more interest in barbed sutures and try to see and evaluate our barbed sutures as and when it is necessary for you. Going further and understanding one very interesting product about Merrill, which is actually a unique initiative. So what we have done is we have come up with the kits, the surgical kits, in which we have the CABG kits, the TKR kits, the hernia kits, and the cesarean section kits, and many other variants to all of these kits. So every kit has around 3 to 4 variants, depending on the requirement of the surgeon. So these kits basically have all the sutures required for one particular surgery for one particular patient. And these variants are customizable. So that you as a surgeon can customize the requirement for yourself. If you customize and there is a certain order quantity value given to us, we can definitely customize the entire kit for you. And it will be coming as per your choice in the box, so that it is very easy for you to manage, your storeroom of the surgical OT. So it is easy for your nurses to bring it for you. Just one box and you are sorted. You know that these are the sutures I require for my surgery. present in one single box and you don't need to handle multiple suture boxes. That is the beauty of the surgery kits that Merrill has launched. And trust me, Merrill is one of a kind when it comes to the surgery kits. The surgical bunch, as I said, we have the endosurgery manufacturing plant. I would like to just give a small overview of it, that most important aspect of this is vertical integration of manufacturing. We have extrusion to ETO technology. So everything, the full vertical integration happens in one single plant, and the capacity of large scale manufacturing is very much possible. We have infrastructure for scalability, that means for more production, and we have modern lean manufacturing processes in place in our manufacturing unit. These are real pictures of the manufacturing unit in Merrill. We have robust quality checks wherein we have the Japanese operation management methodology that is deployed for checks, and automated needle pull testers performing the checks. Advanced technology for checking needle penetration is used. We have comprehensive range of plus sutures and regular sutures. The sutures and needles are best in class. As I said, they are of special alloy. We have multi-stroke technology, which is in place. That means every single suture that is being swaged by the person manually is checked with a weight, not batch-wise, but every single suture is checked with a weight when it comes to manufacturing of suture, which is an interesting aspect, which makes sure that every suture and every needle remains in place and is beautifully attached while the surgeon can do his procedure effectively. We have world-class packaging. This is the low memory tray packaging. We also have a no memory tray packaging for the fill-up suture. So low memory tray basically helps the suture to have a very, very less memory to it. And it is easy for the surgeon to operate when there's a low memory. Certifications in place for Merrill are the CE mark, the US FDA approval, that is the US 510(k) certification, ISO, the CGMP certification are all in place for all of the sutures in Merrill. And last and most important thing is advantages of Merrill Endosurgery, which I would like to highlight here, is that we have a progressive R&D team which has the ability to quickly iterate new products and also futuristic technologies. We have end-to-end manufacturing solutions, a large code matrix, you name it, and we have the code for you. Needle and suture permutation and combinations are possible all under one roof. Ability to match small and large requirements, full endosurgical range, suture, staplers, surgical kits, hernia repair solutions, and many more. Regulatory and clinical trial bandwidth, we do have, and we are ready to do that. If you are interested, we can definitely go ahead with clinical trials. Coverage of large customer matrix, various surgeons are already with us, and they really love the kind of products that we have come up with. The most important aspect is the training and the education, ability to engage customers at a grassroots level. We have young fellows, scrub nurses, technicians, to senior physician surgeons and KOLs who are with us, who have trained with us over a period of time. We have trained around 10,000 healthcare professionals in our Merrill Academy, which we take pride. And we would like to invite you to our academy, wherein we have multiple trainings happening on a regular basis. Of course, this year we couldn't do the physical trainings, but next year, as the things settle down, we do welcome you to the Merrill Academy. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And this was all about the Merrill sutures. I hope you enjoyed the journey of India as a country to become a manufacturing hub for sutures. And I hope you really liked this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shadra. And I just want to emphasize also, if you have questions, you can type it on the chat box and we can ask the doctor on what questions you have. Also, I would like to emphasize that these sutures are already available in the Philippines. Some are still on registration, like the Record, but already ongoing. The Mitsu are already available and other products are already there. So the price range is very competitive, only ranging from 150 to 400, depends upon the class or the type of suture. So once we visit all the hospitals there, we will surely give those to you. So the next part of our program is very exciting actually, because it is the raffle part. So the raffle part, we will raffle a few items which are already available here. We have PPE for hospitals, and we have also face masks, and we have face shields, and those are for individuals. But we have disinfection kits, D125 disinfection kits to be raffled. 3 of them will go to 3 hospitals. So that will be done later. But right now we will raffle I think 10 boxes of face mask. Type his or her name on the. I'm just gonna copy everything on the chat so we can do the raffle. So let me do a screen sharing so you can see. Screen share.
Sabihin mo, rapid test lang. Rapid test lang.
All right. So let us clear this first and put the names here. So we have one winner for 10 boxes of face mask. Okay, NuSafe face mask by Pharmastar International Trading Corporation. So we will do the raffle now. I just tried later off screen for this one, but this is gonna be the winner. Okay. From Mary Ellen Surubio. Okay. So Miss Mary type my email and be an email. So thank you so much for that. Now let's go back to the next topic. And the next topic will be a discussion for another update or another surgical trend that is already practiced international. And our speaker will be Mr. Sudhir Padro. He is the product manager for international sales in Merrill Endo Surgery. So, Mr. Sudhir,
I think there is a change. Mr. Amol will be presenting first.
Oh, sorry for that. So, our next speaker will be Mr. Amol Lavangare, also a product manager for international sales in Merrill Endo Surgery. I do apologize for the mishap. Okay, Mr. Amol, please do take the floor.
Thank you, Christopher. Is the presentation visible?
No, Amol, it's not very
No,
visible.
sir, it's not visible.
Just a minute. Is it visible now?
We can just
no.
Viewers, the presentation is not visible. I request you to open the presentation first, then go to share screen.
Yeah, it is.
You have opened it. Go to share screen. A window will appear. And now click on the presentation that you have opened. It will be there in the box.
Right. Is it visible now?
Yes, now we can see it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Amol.
So, good morning, and welcome one and all. I am Amol Lavangare. I represent Merrill Endosurgery International Marketing. Today's topic for the day is comprehensive surgical solutions. I would be talking about the different range of products what Merrill has, and I would be emphasizing more on hernia repair solution and hemostats, since it is the portfolio which I am responsible for. So, as already discussed by Mr. Deepak Sharma, Merrill Endosurgery portfolio comprises of wound closure, staplers, access devices, surgical kits, hernia repair solutions, biosurgicals, and IUDs. Today, I would be talking in depth more about hernia repair solutions and biosurgicals. So this is an elaborate portfolio on sutures, staplers, accessories, surgical kits, hernia repair solutions, biosurgery, and IUDs. Where in sutures, we have both absorbable, non-absorbable sutures as covered by Dr. Shraddha. Then in staplers, we have the entire range from skin stapler to endoscopic linear cutter. In accessories, we have bone wax, ligation clips, and trocars. In surgical kits, we have all different types of kits ranging from hernia kit to CABG kit. In hernia repair solution, I would be talking in depth more about the different types of hernia mesh, what we have in inguinal and ventral hernia repair, and also about the fixation device that is Profound A and Profound N, which is an absorbable and non-absorbable fixation device which is used across the globe by most of the surgeons for fixating the mesh. In biosurgery, we have ORCs, that is oxidized regenerated cellulose and gelatins. And in IUDs, we have copper IUDs and hormonal IUDs. Now, what is the emerging trend in global hernia market? Now, if I talk about the global perspective, considering India as well as the world market, hernia is a common problem of the modern world with an incidence ranging from 1 to 2%. The prevalence of hernia is far greater in developing countries like India, amounting to a major healthcare burden. Of all groin hernias, around 75% are inguinal hernias. The repair of the groin hernia is therefore a commonly performed surgery worldwide. Now, since Asia Pacific has a large population, it benefits in terms of huge patient pool. In 2014, around 62% of the total number of hernia repair procedures performed worldwide was in Asia Pac, which shows huge potential of this region. Now, presently, around 85 to 90% of this patient goes for hernia repair using mesh. But in the near future, this percentage will increase due to the increasing awareness regarding invasive hernia repairing, which may result in infection, bleeding, and increased duration of hospitalization. So this was about the global perspective and India perspective when it comes about hernia market. Now let us see the global market size. If we go by the sales figure, 45% of the world population sales revenue comes from inguinal hernia, and remaining 55% is contributed by ventral hernia. Now, if we talk about occurrence-wise, percentage occurrence-wise, 70% of the world population undergoes inguinal hernia repair once in their lifetime, then followed by a ventral hernia, which contributes to 12%, then followed by umbilical hernia, which contributes to 10%, then followed by femoral hernias and others. So 70% of the population, mostly major patients, are undergo inguinal hernia repair, either open or laparoscopy. Talking furthermore on global hernia market size, the global market hernia size was $4.09 billion in 2018, and it is growing at a rate of CAGR of 3%, and it is estimated to be $4.75 billion by 2023. The major players in the global hernia market are Medtronic, Bard, Ethicon, that is J&J, Johnson & Johnson, WL Gore, B. Braun, and others. Now, if you see, the Medtronic is the market leader, which contributes to about $1.08 billion, then followed by Bard, then followed by Ethicon, WL Gore, B. Braun, and others. Similarly, Medtronic has captured the major market share. 28% of the global hernia market is captured by Medtronic, that is 28%, followed by Bard, followed by Ethicon, that is Johnson & Johnson, WL Gore, B. Braun, and then others. As I already said, these are the four giants who are there in the hernia market globally. That is Johnson and Johnson. What we called it as Ethicon. It is one of the division of Johnson and Johnson. Then we have Medtronic. Then we have D. Brown and Bard. So these are the four giants who are dominating the hernia market. Now let us talk about the evolution of hernia mesh. So in 1887, Dr. Eduardo Bassini, he performed the first hernia surgery by using a polypropylene suture. So according to Dr. Eduardo Bassini, he covered the defect by using polypropylene suture, where he pulled the two muscles, stretched the two muscles, that is internal oblique muscle and well as external oblique muscle, and he covered the defect with a polypropylene suture. So this was the era when hernias repair started. So Dr. Eduardo Bassini was the first anatomist who performed hernia surgery with polypropylene sutures, then followed by Dr. Edward Shouldice in 1940. According to Dr. Edward Shouldice, he said that instead of closing the two layers, he closed all the four layers and covered the defect, and then all the layers with covered by using a polypropylene suture. Then in 1984, for the first time, Dr. Irving Lichtenstein used polypropylene mesh for the first time, and this type of hernia repair was called as tension-free hernioplasty. So where he used a polypropylene mesh, which is made up of a synthetic material, and after covering the defect with a polypropylene mesh, he sutured the mesh from all the four sides and then covered all the layers one by one. And for the first time, polypropylene mesh was introduced into the global market by Dr. Irving Lichtenstein. Moving ahead, then the era came of first generation, second generation, and third generation of mesh. So in the first generation of mesh, it was non-absorbable and synthetic materials were used like polypropylene, polyester, and expanded polytetrafluoroethylene. Then the second generation of mesh, there was a non-absorbable material which was used with a synthetic barrier like polypropylene and polylactide caprolactone in combination with polylactide caprolactone. Similarly, polypropylene with hydrogel as a barrier was used. Then we had polypropylene plus ORC, that is oxidized regenerated cellulose, and polydioxanone as a synthetic barrier. And there were furthermore development like polypropylene with a collagen film, which was derived from porcine derivative, and polypropylene with polyvinyl difluoride, vinylidene difluoride. So this was the second generation of mesh which was introduced into the hernia market. The third generation of mesh included the biological mesh, which were derived from human and porcine acellular dermis. So biological mesh materials are based on collagen scaffolds, which were derived from donor sources, which provided a matrix for native cells to populate and generate connective tissue that could replace the tissue in the hernia defect. So these materials were derived from porcine, that is from small intestine of submucosa of porcine, and also from acellular dermis of human body cells, as well as from porcine and bovine xenogenic acellular dermis. So this is how the evaluation of mesh was done in the hernia market. And today, most of the surgeons, they prefer polypropylene in hernia repair, and for ventral hernia repair, they go for a combination, either of the combinations, and there are very few surgeries where biological meshes are used. So this was the era which was evolved in the hernia market. Now, predominantly, let us see how is hernia classified. Okay, hernia is classified predominantly as groin hernia and ventral hernia. Okay, and groin hernia is further subclassified as inguinal hernia and femoral hernia. Inguinal hernia is again then bifurcated as direct inguinal hernia and indirect inguinal hernia. Now talking about ventral hernia, there are four major types of ventral hernias, that is umbilical, epigastric, incisional, and spigelian. We'll talk more about these different types of hernia in depth in the subsequent slides. Now, the options which were available for inguinal hernia mesh repairs were open approach, that is open technique, as well as laparoscopic technique. Open technique, it is also called as an anterior approach, that is where the surgeon approaches from the outer side to inner side, from the skin to the innermost layer of the abdominal wall. In laparoscopic technique, it is called as posterior approach, where the doctor approaches from the inside out, that is from the last layer of your abdominal wall and towards the outer side of your abdominal wall, that is towards the skin. Now let us see which are the mesh which are available for open as well as inguinal hernia repair. So now talking about open inguinal hernia repair, as I said, Dr. Edward Schuldeis in 1940, he developed the first technique of repairing hernia, where it is also called as double layer technique, 2-layer technique. It is also called as Canadian repair, where Dr. Edward Schuldeis used all the 4 muscles, that is internal oblique muscle, external oblique muscle, transverse iris fascia, and transverse abdominis muscles to cover the defect. So it is also called it as a multi-layer repair, where different polypropylene sutures were imbricated, and by crisscross connections, all the layers were closed one by one. Now, what are the Merrill offerings for open inguinal hernia repair? For both Bassini technique and Schuldeis technique, we have polypropylene sutures by the brand name Filaprop. So these are the sutures which are available with Merrill if a doctor is going for an open ventral hernia repair or an open inguinal hernia repair. Now talking about Liechtenstein tension-free hernioplasty, Liechtenstein was the first anatomist to use polypropylene mesh, where he used polypropylene synthetic mesh for the first time, and where the mesh was placed on the layers, on the abdominal wall layers, and the defect was covered with a polypropylene mesh. And by making a slit and by using different polypropylene sutures, the defect was covered with a polypropylene mesh as well as polypropylene suture. So because of which there was no tension on the sutures line, and there was reinforcement on the abdominal wall, and there were less chances of recurrence when polypropylene mesh was used for the first time. So this type of technique is called as Liechtenstein's tension-free hernioplasty. So for open hernia repair, we have all the options available. We have all the products in our kitty. That is, we have Filaprop mesh, which is a polypropylene mesh, which is a CE approved mesh. Then we have Filaprop soft mesh, which is a soft polypropylene mesh. And then there are some surgeons who prefer a microporous mesh. We also have a microporous mesh called as Merigro, which is a polypropylene microporous mesh. There are some surgeons who go for microporous mesh. The reason because they want faster tissue integration as well as scar plate formation, which provides maximum strength and the faster healing of wound. So some of the surgeons go for microporous mesh, and some surgeons also prefer partially absorbable mesh. We also have a partially absorbable mesh called as Absomesh, where the molecule is polyglycaprone and polypropylene in 1:1 ratio, that is 50-50%. So some surgeons want to place a lightweight mesh, so where the polyglycaprone part gets absorbed after 90 to 120 days and polypropylene remains inside the patient body. So this is how the era of mesh generated. Now today the world is moving from heavyweight mesh to lightweight mesh and ultra lightweight mesh. So we have all the types of mesh in our kitty, that is from polypropylene to macroporous to partially absorbable lightweight mesh. And all of our meshes are CE approved, and we have different sizes ranging from 6 by 11 centimeter to 30 by 30 centimeters in all of the 4 types. So the doctor has all the options available with him while repairing inguinal hernia repair. Moving ahead, in inguinal hernia repair, in laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair, these are the two procedures which are used worldwide by almost all of the surgeons, that is TAP, that is transabdominal preperitoneal, and TEP, that is totally extraperitoneal, where the doctor makes an incision in the last layer of the abdominal wall and places the mesh in the preperitoneal space. These are the most preferred procedures when it comes to inguinal hernia repair, laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair. So TAP and TEP, here most of the surgeons, they either prefer Filaprop, that is polypropylene mesh, or either they go for macroporous mesh. So we also have these two types of mesh which is readily available, and most of the surgeons are preferring Filaprop as well as Merigro for these two types of procedures which are done in inguinal hernia repair. Now, talking about total hernia repair solutions, as I said, hernia is classified into inguinal hernia, that is also called as groin hernia, and ventral hernia, which is also called as abdominal hernia. So now let us see how are mesh classified. Mesh are classified on the basis of weight. We have heavyweight, medium weight, lightweight, and ultra lightweight mesh. So if the size of the mesh, if the weight of the mesh is greater than 90 GSM, it falls in the category of heavyweight. Medium weight mesh 50 to 90 GSM, lightweight mesh 35 to 50 GSM, and ultra lightweight mesh less than 35 GSM. On the basis of porosity, mesh are classified as very large pores, medium pores, and small pores. So if the pore size of the mesh is greater than 2 mm, it falls in the category of very large pores. 1 to 2 mm large pores, 0.6 to 1 mm medium pores, and less than 0.6 mm small pores. So today the world is moving from heavyweight mesh to lightweight mesh and ultra lightweight mesh, and also from small pore size mesh to large pore size mesh and very large pore size mesh. So this is how the Merrill meshes are classified on the basis of weight and porosity, and the surgeries where they are applied. Filaprop mesh falls in the category of standard weight large pore size mesh. It is used in open as well as laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair. Filaprop soft, it falls in the category of lightweight medium pores. Again, it is used for both. Merigro, it falls in the category of medium weight very large pores, and Absomesh, lightweight very large pores. So the surgeon has a choice to use any of these meshes when he's performing laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair or an open inguinal hernia repair. So the basket is in front of him. He can choose any of this mesh when he's going for an inguinal hernia repair. Okay. So in a nutshell, in inguinal hernia repair mesh, we have polypropylene mesh, we have polypropylene soft mesh, we have macroporous mesh, and we have partially absorbable mesh. Polypropylene mesh, the brand name is Filaprop. Polypropylene soft mesh, we have Filaprop soft. For macroporous mesh, we have Merigro. And for partially absorbable lightweight mesh, we have Absomesh. Now, talking about ventral hernia, as I said, ventral hernia is also called as abdominal hernia. So if the protrusion is from the abdominal part, it is called as ventral hernia. And there are majorly 4 types, that is epigastric, incisional, umbilical, Spigelian, and hiatal hernia. As you can see in the picture, okay, the protrusion of the bowel is from the abdominal region, and all the ventral hernias contribute to 20 to 25% of the global hernia. And these are the 5 major types, that is incisional, umbilical, epigastric, Spigelian, and hiatus. Now, what are the Merrill offerings for open ventral hernia repair? Again, we have the entire basket with us. The doctor can go for Filaprop, that is polypropylene, Filaprop soft, that is soft polypropylene mesh, Merigro, that is polypropylene macroporous mesh, or Absomesh, which is a partially absorbable lightweight mesh, where the molecule is polyglycaprone and polypropylene in 1:1 ratio. So when it comes to open inguinal hernia repair, or lap inguinal hernia repair or open ventral hernia repair, doctor has a choice to go for any of the mesh, as all of the SKUs are available with us. We have a wide range of mesh. The doctor can go for any of the mesh. Now, this is the recent technique of hernia repair, which has been evolved. What we call it as TAR repair, that is transverse abdominis release repair. And this type of repair is not performed so frequently across the globe. It requires a lot of skills, and only the top cables they perform TAR repair, where the defect size is greater than 8 to 10 centimeters. Doctors go for TAR repair, in which the transverse abdominis muscle is pulled over the defect and the defect is covered. Here the surgeons prefer a large size mesh, a bigger size mesh. It almost 30 by 30 centimeters or 50 by 50 centimeters. We are also coming up with Merigro, large size mesh, that is 50 by 50 centimeters, especially for defect size which is greater than 8 to 10 centimeters. So we will be launching soon in this new financial year, Merigro 50 by 50 for larger size defects. Now let us see what are the Meril offerings in laparoscopic ventral hernia repair. So in inguinal hernia repair, as I said, TAP and TEP are the two major procedures which are performed by the surgeons globally, that is transabdominal preperitoneal and totally extraperitoneal. Similarly, IPOM is the procedure which is performed when it comes to laparoscopic ventral hernia repair, where the doctor has to place the mesh beyond the last layer of the abdominal wall, that is beyond the peritoneum, where while placing the mesh in the peritoneal space, transparency of the mesh is the biggest factor which has to be considered, because when you are in the intraperitoneal space, transparency should be the biggest factor, since you have to maneuver the mesh and cover the defect. So we also have a mesh called as Merinium, which is tissue separating mesh, which is used in laparoscopic ventral hernia repair. The molecule is polypropylene and polylactate caprolactone, that is PLCL. So this is the mesh which is preferred by the surgeons when it comes for laparoscopic ventral hernia repair, and especially for IPOM procedures. So this is a tissue separating dual layered mesh with optimized design for strength and performance. Merinium is also CE approved, and it is used for all the types of laparoscopic ventral hernia repair, whether it is incisional, umbilical, or epigastric, and where the doctor goes for IPOM procedure. So this is how the mesh looks like. So if I talk about Merinium mesh, these are the blue lines. The first and foremost feature is the transparency. The mesh is very much transparent, so that it becomes easy for the surgeons to visualize the mesh and maneuver the mesh to cover the defect. Then we have the blue lines. We have these orientation lines, which is across the mesh, which helps in improved visibility and ease of mesh orientation. Then on the entire mesh, we have well proportionated drainage holes, which ensures seroma drainage in times, which facilitates fibroblast growth, and it helps the surgeons to take transfacial sutures. Now across the mesh, on one side, we have a transparent synthetic absorbable barrier, which is PLCL. So the PLCL is across the entire mesh, which is coated on the polypropylene mesh on all the four sides. And additionally, we have also provided extra 5 mm PLCL barrier from all the four sides of the mesh to prevent adhesion to the mesh. So this is an additional 5 mm and protective membrane, anti-adhesive membrane, which we have given on the Filaprop mesh for prevention of adhesion of the bowel. And there is a F marker on the mesh that is facing to the viscera, so which helps the doctor to place the mesh on the bowel, so that he can easily maneuver the mesh, he can easily fix the mesh and cover the defect. So this is a transparent synthetic absorbable barrier which which gives more resistance to the damage during deployment through trocar. It gives protection against adhesion formation during the critical period, and this layer gets absorbed between 90 to 120 days. So the PLCL layer gets absorbed after 190 to 120 days, and what remains in the patient body is the polypropylene, which gives the strength to the abdominal wall. So this was about Merinium mesh. So we have different SKUs. We have different shapes and sizes. We have different SKUs. We have rectangular, we have oval, as well as we have square size. We have different sizes ranging from 7.6 centimeter into 15 centimeter to up to 20 by 25 centimeters. Now talking about fixation device, we have absorbable as well as non-absorbable fixation device to fix the mesh. So the fixation device which is available with us is Profound A. This is an absorbable mesh fixation device. The molecule is polylactide co-glycolide. This is a Profound A. This is the shaft of the Profound A. And this is the trigger, as well as these are the tags. These tags are made up of polylactide co-glycolide, which has a deep penetration power, and it purchase and has deep tissue purchase. So we have come out with this ergonomic handle, which gives ease of firing to the surgeons, and he can easily maneuver the mesh when it is easily maneuver the tacker when it is inside the trocar, and he can fire the mesh at different angles. So this is Profound A. We have two variants, that is 15, Profound A with 15 tags and Profound A with 30 tags. And this is also CE approved. In non-absorbable fixation device, we have Profound N, where the tags are made up of titanium alloy. It is a non-absorbable hernia mesh fixation device, where you can see the tags are made up of titanium, and which has a good penetration power, and it has a deep tissue purchase. It is used for laparoscopic repair, and the doctor can easily fire the tags at different angles, and it gives ease of orientation and safe handling, as well as comfortable for the surgeons when he is in the intraperitoneal space. And it is also CE approved. Here also we have two variants, that is with 15 tags as well as 30 tags. So the surgeon has choice to choose either to go for 15 or 30 tags. Now talking about competition, these are the different products, brands which are available in the market, where Johnson & Johnson, the products are from Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, Bard and B. Braun. So the products, as I said, where the anti-adhesive layer is hydrogel barrier or a collagen film or an ORC. So these are the different brands which are available from J&J, Medtronic, Bard and B. Braun. Now talking about the competition of fixation device, we have different products from Johnson & Johnson, Bard as well as Medtronic for absorbable and non-absorbable tackers. Now we are also coming up with 3 new products. We are coming up with a 3-dimensional mesh called as Filaprop 3D, which is used for laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair, and for defects where the defect size is greater than 8 to 10 centimeter. We are also coming up with Merigrow 50 by 50 centimeters, especially for TAR procedures. And we are also coming up with powered Profound A, that is with absorbable fixation device with a power technology. So these are the products which are there in pipeline. Now coming to Meril Biosurgicals, that is our hemostats. So when we talk about bleeding management, any hemostat should fulfill 3 criteria: that it should have quick response, it should stop bleeding at a faster rate, and it should also maintain the integrity of the circulatory system. So any hemostat, whether it is an ORC or gelatin, the function of the hemostat is to provide a matrix and formation of clot to stop the loss of blood. So these are the different steps which are there in hemostasis, where the hemostatic agents, whether it is an ORC or gelatin, they act on the fibrin clot. They help act as a barrier to stop blood loss and formation of fibrin clot. So in hemostasis, there is a step called as coagulation cascade. So whenever there is an injury to the patient, whether it is an extrinsic or an intrinsic blood loss, or whether it is damage to the blood vessel, either from the external or from the internal side, both the factors are merged together and they come at the factor 10, where there is a series of events which leads to formation of blood clot, where our ORC, that is Merizil and gelatin, they act as a matrix where they convert fibrin and formation of blood clot. So the different types of hemostatic agents which are available in the market are like mechanical clips. We have clamps, ligating clips, staplers, sutures, bone wax, and external bandages. For hemostatic agents, chemical agents, we have topical absorbable hemostats, we have gelatins, collagens, ORCs, synthetic tissue sealants, and in biological, we have thrombin solution and fibrin glues. These are the hemostatic agents which are available in the market. In cauterization, we have thermal cautery, laser cautery, as well as cryosurgery. In electrocautery, we have monopolar and bipolar RF energy devices. So what are the Meril offerings? We have oxidized regenerated cellulose as well as gelatins. The brand name is Merizil, which is our ORC. We have 3 variants, that is standard, woven, and fiber. And for Merifilm, we have different 6 variants. We have standard, tampon, no touch pack, special, powder, endoscopic tampon. So let us see the clinical applications of our Merizil, that is our ORC, standard, fiber, and woven. The standard is used for all the neurosurgical procedures, cardiothoracic procedures, general surgeries, as well as ENT surgeries. The fiber is used for neurosurgery, cardiovascular thoracic surgeries, and orthopedic surgeries, as well as woven is also used for cardiovascular thoracic surgeries and general surgeries. Similarly, Merifem, these are the different variants used in neurosurgeries, general surgeries, ENT surgeries, as well as neurosurgeries. Now, when we talk about the competition, we have Johnson & Johnson and Baxter. These are 2 players which are there for ORCs in the global hernia market, in the global ORC market. And for gelatins, we have again Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer, who are the market players for gelatins in the world market. Thank you very much. That was from my side. Over to you, Christopher.
Thank you, Mr. Amol. And if you have questions, just let us know on the chat box. So far, no questions yet has been typed, but thank you so much, Mr. Amol, for that wonderful and informative informations about new or emerging trends for surgical procedures that we can use for hernia and for the mesh. And thank you so much for that. And now we will go through another raffle. So let me just share screen. So let me just copy first. All the participants still on the okay. Okay, let me share the screen. All right. So the screen has been shared, so I'll just delete the previous one. Then I'll paste the new one. Okay. So a total of 141 entries. Okay, let's check and find a name. Pick name. Okay. Congratulations to Dr. Ricardo Quintos. You're also a winner of 10 boxes of face mask. Thank you. And Dr. Ricardo Quintos, I'll be sending you a private message. I'll give you my contact number so you can contact me to claim your prize. Thank you so much. So I'll stop the share screen now. And I hope everyone is having a good and learning a lot for today's webinar. So the next part of our webinar is to discuss further about the surgical innovations and surgical international trends. Mr. Sudhir Padro. Mr. Sudhir, you can now share your screen. Thank you.
Is that visible? So, but am I audible and is my slide visible?
Your slide is visible. Your audio is breaking.
Hello, good morning everyone. This is Sudhir Pedro and I am here as a product manager for endomechanical devices. Today my objective and
Sudhir, your audio is not clear. Sorry.
Give me a second. Give me a second. Is it better now? Can you hear me now, Christopher?
Still, your line is breaking up. Can you repeat what you've said, Sudhir?
Whether I'm audible.
All right, I think that's good. Go ahead, Sudhir.
So thank you, Christopher, once again, and a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Sudhir Pedro, and I'm the product manager for endomechanical devices with Merrill Endosurgery. Today, the objective and motto of sharing this presentation is to discuss the emerging trends across industry in stapling devices. To start with, we'll talk about how the surgical stapling evolved, when it started, and who was the man behind it. It was in year 1908 when the father of surgical stapling, he was a Hungarian surgeon, Dr. Yuma Hajar. He started the surgical stapling. And look at the device that he had made. This device was a bulky device, weighing around 3.6 kgs, and it used to take them around 2 to 3 hours to assemble the device and use it for a particular surgery. Things evolved and improvised, and there were many other metallic staplers which came into picture in late 50s. And these are some of those devices, and some of those devices are still being used in current scenario as well in some of the developing countries. And like the first one you see on the left side is a single row circular stapler, a linear cutter in between, and a linear stapler in between, and a linear cutter on the right side. In 1950, the first commercially produced reusable stapler was introduced, and in 1964, USSC, which is the United States Surgical Corporation, they launched the brand called Auto Suture. In 1977, companies like J&J entered this market, and the USSC, which we have talked about, they became.
Excuse me, Mr. Sudhir.
Yes, yes.
Your audio is.
I'll change my network. I'll change my network, please.
Sudhir, there is a background noise as well.
Is it clear and audible now, Christopher?
Yes, that's better.
Much better, Sudhir.
Thank you so much, and I apologize for the inconvenience. So what I was discussing about is that in 1988, the USSC, which is the United States Surgical Corporation, it becomes Tyco Healthcare, which used to deal with products like sutures and etc. And in 2007, Tyco became Covidien. In 2015, Covidien merges with Medtronic, which is a cardiovascular giant, and Merrill comes into the picture in 2016. If we talk about the market size of stapling devices, which are also known as the endomechanical devices, it is growing at the rate of 8.13 CAGR and is expected to reach $7.14 billion by 2025. In current scenario, there are many brands in the market like Merrill, J&J, Medtronic, Panther, B. Braun, and many more. And all of them are big players, and there are some others which have small devices in the market. Including those, Medtronic and Ethicon covers major market share in the world right now. Globally, there are major players, and there are other players who work in this 20% market. Whichever company it is, whatever industry, like pertaining to the endomechanical devices, the objective is to have superior hemostasis and precise transection. That is the objective what they keep in mind while developing any sort of an endomechanical device. And while they are doing an R&D on these devices, there are four factors, four tissue characteristics which they keep in mind. Number one is hysteresis. The hysteresis describes the amount of lengthening of a tissue which will maintain after a cycle of stretching or deformation and then relax. These are the tissue characteristics what I'm talking about. Viscoelasticity. Viscoelastic tissues are made up of viscous and elastic properties. Like a viscous tissue will deform and stay deformed permanently. If you pull on a piece of Play-Doh, for instance, it will keep the shape. If you pull it up, it will keep that shape since it's more viscous. And elastic tissue will return to its length. When you pull an elastic, remove it, it returns back to its position. Now moving on to next, which is tissue creep. Its creep describes the ability of a tissue to elongate over the time when a constant compression is applied over it. And the last thing, which is the biphasic nature, like it's solid and liquid both, its inherent compressibility and differences in thickness all work together to produce a viscoelastic response when tissue is placed under a compressive force. These are the factors which every manufacturing company who deals with endomechanical devices keeps in mind. Now let's see year-on-year innovations which has happened across industry and how these endomechanical devices, stapling devices have improved and have helped the surgeons to do their surgeries better and have better patient outcomes. First is circular staplers. What are circular staplers? Circular staplers are the stapling device which is used for anastomosis. Anastomosis is to join two tubular structures. And these anastomosis can be done end-to-end, side-to-end, and end-to-side. The basic characteristics that a circular stapler should have, or what a surgeon can expect from a circular stapler, are that it should provide a tissue control. There should be less tissue tension, less tension on anastomosis. You should have an adequate lumen for the natural flow, optimal anvil profile for easy access, tilt-top or fixed anvil for easy removal, double or triple staggered rows of staples for better hemostasis. It should give a user-controlled compression system so that the surgeon can compress the tissue optimally. It should have an adjustable staple length and anvil groove design for a proper V-shaped staple formation. Please let me know if my voice and things are clear. I hope things are clear, right? Christopher?
Yes, so far so good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So as I shared this picture in the previous slide, this was a single staple line circular stapler introduced in USSR in 1954. And then new products came into picture, which were disposable products. In USA, they came in 1974, and this was a double layer. You have two staple lines. The first one has one staple line. The second type, it came up with the two staple line. And what Merrill has came up with in 2016 is a triple row. All of you will agree with me, and if you would have seen the market as well, that if we talk about the stapling devices, most of them have moved from 2-row to 3-row for a better and superior hemostasis and for patient safety. All the devices in the market have different kind of technologies. As I shared in the previous slide, that there are anvils. The anvil of a circular stapler can be a fixed anvil, or it could be a tilt-top anvil. There are different schools of thought for this particular technology. Some may say that it can provide, the tilt-top anvil can provide an easy removal, while as others may not. It depends upon the usage of a surgeon and how he feels while using these kind of devices. What Merrill offers is both. It has a 2-row circular stapler as well as a 3-row circular stapler. And there are clinical studies going on which are going to prove that yes, 3-row is going to give a better hemostasis compared to a 2-row. And the other benefit that this has is that it has a white Teflon cutting washer, which gives an audible feedback while you are filing. The tissue compression scale that it has, which provides an adjustable staple height, that you will agree with me that every tissue will have a different tissue thickness. If you are dealing with a stomach, the pylorus part will have a different tissue thickness compared to a fundus part. So you ought to have a stapler which can accommodate different tissue thicknesses. That's why we have a stapler which provides adjustable staple height, which ranges from 1 mm to 2.5 mm. That's how you can adjust that particular staple height aligned with the tissue thickness. Even the sizes vary. It depends upon the lumen size that you need, from 19 mm lumen to 32 mm lumen. That's what Merrill offers. There are also other brands available in the market which come up with the powered stapler. There are some brands which have the three tri-staple kind of things wherein you have 3 different layers. And now moving on to the next product. The next product is linear cutter. What is linear cutter used for? Linear cutter is a cutter and a stapler which cuts and staples simultaneously, and hence is used for transection, resection, and anastomosis in many surgeries. So what we expect from a linear cutter? It has to have a uniform compression from proximal end to distal end, a consistent staple formation throughout the distal end of the jaw without fork deflection. It should hence provide, we talked about in the very first a couple of slides, that the focus of industry is on the superior hemostasis. So every product which comes under the endomechanical category, it ought to have it should provide the superior hemostasis. A quality knife blade for a precise transaction, a rear hinge or an intermediate lock for tissue manipulation. While you are holding the tissue, you should be able to manipulate, go sidewise, or you can readjust the tissue. That kind of a property should be available in that particular device, which is linear cutter. It has to be atraumatic, and it should have a low profile anvil tip, which is the top of the linear cutter, which what happens with that, if you have a low profile anvil tip, you have to make a small autonomy compared to those devices which have bigger anvils. These are some of the old-time devices which are there in the market. One is a metallic linear cutter, which is all stainless steel device, which were used previously and also are being used in some developing nations. And then came into picture a disposable linear cutter device, which is also an old-time device from one of the companies. And what is current scenario? Current scenario is that what Merrill offers, it has Midas linear cutter, which gives a uniform compression and consistent staple formation, push button for quick release, and it has a rear hinge. I talked about this. For tissue manipulation, you need a rear hinge so that you can adjust the tissue within this. The most important part of this presentation, this particular product, is that it provides new knife with every reload, which guarantees smooth and precise transaction. We have 2 types of cartridges with Midas linear cutter. One is a blue cartridge and another is a green cartridge. What is blue and what is green? As I said, there are different tissues, they have different tissue thicknesses. So accordingly, we have to use our cartridge. Our blue cartridge gives you a closed staple height of 1.5 mm. For those tissues which on compression close down to 1.5 mm, you can use a blue cartridge. And for those tissues wherein you have a closed staple height or which can compress to 2 mm, you can go for a green cartridge. There are some other products also available in market which have similar kind of properties, or maybe some here and there they have similar kind of properties. The brand B, this is a bit different product which has 1 cartridge and it provides 3 different staple heights. Now talking about the staple shape and how it makes the difference. The first image that you are able to see is a B-shaped staple formation. Most of the products, 90% of the products in the market will have a B-shaped staple formation, which is a time-tested staple formation. And the wire used in this is a cylindrical wire to form a B-shaped staple formation. Then there is another type of a staple formation which is called the directional stapling formation, wherein you have a flat wire to make again B-shaped staple formation. Then there is another type of stapling device which provides a 3D stapling formation which has somewhat hugging kind of a design, wherein it is not B, it just hugs the tissue. Again, in this also The wire is cylindrical wire. Moving on to the next product. The next product is linear stapler. Linear stapler, the name says, it's only stapler. Last product was linear cutter. It cuts and staples. This product is linear stapler. It only staples. It has got 2 staggered rows of titanium staples. What it offers is, it offers uniform compression, consistent staple formation, superior hemostasis, intermediate lock for tissue manipulation, atraumatic, slim shaft for easy access, since you have to go to narrow places, like if you are doing some surgery in the deep pelvis, then you need to have such kind of a shaft which can access to there, like LAR, lower anterior resection you are doing. You need such kind of a device which can access to that particular portion of the body. Then it should also offer, or it may or may not offer, because there are different types of devices in the market, the adjustable or fixed staple height. We'll talk about this in the next slide. The first one, what you are looking at, is a metallic reusable linear stapler. This product is rarely now seen in the market, as the other products are available and there have been so many improved versions now. What you could see on the right side is a stapler with the dial, wherein you can have the adjustable staple height. Like the way we talked about in circular stapler, here also this product can offer the adjustable staple height, subject to the tissue thickness. Moving on to Merrill. What Merrill has to offer in this particular category, we have Mirus linear stapler in 30 mm, 45 mm, 60 mm and 90 mm sizes. These sizes refer to the size of the cartridge, the width of the cartridge, that how much tissue they can grab within this. And the specific features of this product are like, it has a dual function handle. That means a single handle, with a single handle you can reposition, close and also staple the tissue. It has a retaining pin knob for advancing the pin to hold the tissue within the jaw. And it has a cutting guide as well for safe and precise transaction. We offer 2 types of cartridges with this. One is a blue cartridge and a green cartridge. Again, a blue cartridge offers a closed staple height of 1.5 and a green cartridge offers a closed staple height of 2 mm. These are some of the brands which are also available in the market, wherein the first brand, as you see, it is somewhat similar to what I have discussed in Mirus linear stapler, but the brand next to it has got two types of triggers to fire, while as the same job is done by one trigger in the previous 2 products. This is one more product which is similar to that of a linear cutter, linear stapler, but the cartridge, what it has is a curved cartridge. So many a times it is used for lower anterior resection kind of surgeries. Moving on to the next product, which is hemorrhoid stapler. What does a hemorrhoid stapler need to have? It should have tissue control. It should provide less tissue tension. Optimal anvil profile, since you have to get into the anal canal and it is a very narrow space, you have to have an optimal anvil profile and atraumatic anvil profile so that you can go inside and do the hemorrhoidopaxy. It could be available in a double or a triple staggered rows of staples for hemostasis. It should allow a user-controlled compression system. We talked about the user-controlled compression system. We'll see in the next slide what it is. Adjustable staple length and anvil groove design for a proper V-shaped staple formation. These are some of the brands which are available in market right now, and more or less the function at the end of the day is same. However, the make is different. Like the brand one, this one has a fixed anvil, while as this brand has a detachable anvil, and this brand which is on the right side has a transparent body. So every company is doing some or the other improvisation in that product so that at the end of the day, patient benefit is achieved. At the end of the day, patient is getting benefited. What we have to offer in this category is Mirus hemorrhoid stapler. What it contains, it has a stapler, a circular anal dilator, a obturator, endoscope, bursting suture threader. These all things come in a kit with Mirus hemorrhoid stapler. That's what is called MPPH set. What Mirus hemorrhoid stapler offers is the most important thing that we offer is it is available in both the staple lines, like it has got 2 rows as well as 3 rows of staple line. 3 row because an additional row offers a superior hemostasis and better security. This image over here shows the tissue compression indicator. What is the objective? How it helps? It can help you with the adjustable staple height for a varied tissue thickness from 0.75 mm to 1.5 mm. As I shared in the previous slide in circular stapler, that was also with the adjustable staple height, and the adjustable staple height of a circular stapler was ranging from 1 to 2.5 mm. But in case of hemorrhoid stapler, it is 0.75 mm to 1.5 mm. Why? Because in circular stapler, we are only required to grab in mucosa and submucosa. That's why the staple height is ranging from 0.75 to 1.5. As I discussed, staple line, so we have 2 and 3 row. One more feature which is unique to our product is that we have 4 conduits, 4 suture conduits, which you could see these are 4 holes through which you can introduce the suture threader to pull in the sutures so that you can have better traction to pull the pile mass. Next product is optical trocar. What does an optical trocar do? It enables visualization of a tissue layers during insertion. So when, as all of you know, that when we are doing a trocar insertion, if it is a blind technique, there are chances that it can injure the tissue inside. But with this technology, the optical trocar thing, under the scope, under the guidance of a laparoscope, what we could do is that it can enable the visualization of tissue layers during insertion so that you are carefully going inside the abdomen. What it should offer, that there should not be many reducer caps needed for a trocar. That is an ideal trocar. You should, once you are using different size of instruments, from 5 mm instrument to a 12 mm instrument, you should be able to exchange so many instruments of different sizes within a trocar. And what should not happen? The air should not come out. The insufflation should remain maintained. It should accommodate a wide range of instrument sizes. Housing to facilitate large specimen removal. It should hold the camera locked in place during visually guided entry. And abdominal wall retention for minimal trocar slip outs. So there are some wedges on the side of the cannula so that it can remain fixed in the abdominal wall. Also, what is important, it should cause low port site herniation rate. So it should reduce the facial defect. Some products which were there in the market, and some of them are still there in the market, like metal trocar. Metal trocar are still being used in the developing nations, though there are chances of infection because of this. But yes, considering the cost, many people use metal trocars still. Bladed trocars are not now much in fashion. Most of the people don't use it since there are now many other products in the market which have a better access. Then this is a blunt tip disposable trocar, which is common and may be a cost-effective option. But what is currently trending in the market is products like Monic trocar. That's what Merrill has to offer. What it contains, it has an inner seal which maintains the insufflation and accommodates a wide range of instrument sizes. It has an adequate housing to facilitate large specimen removal. It has an outer seal which also helps in maintaining the insufflation and accommodates large, wide range of instruments. Optical entry, of course, for an optical trocar, optical entry is must, which enables visualization of tissue layers. And these are the wedges which I was talking about, which help the abdominal retention. The most important part of a monic trocar is the design of its tip. Its tip has a bird wing tip, which helps which separates the tissue rather than cutting the tissue, and thus travels inside the abdomen. These are some of the products which are there in the market right now, including monic trocar and some of the other. These are more or less have similar features with some different tip designs. Coming on to the next product, which is endoscopic linear cutter. What is endoscopic linear cutter? An endoscopic linear cutter is used and is now trending since everything is going lap. People are moving towards laparoscopy from the open surgery technique. So it is indicated for the laparoscopic stapling in gastrointestinal, colorectal, bariatric, and thoracic surgeries. What you can see is that there are 3 different shaft sizes available, wherein a small size can be used for thoracic surgeries, a medium one is used for colorectal or GI surgeries, and a longer one, which has a shaft length of 265 mm, it can be used for bariatric surgeries. There are some other products which have, like earlier, the first one, what you are able to see, it had a straight shaft. Then some products came in which had articulating cartridges. You can see the angled cartridges are there. Then some more products developed and they came up with the powered ones. Also some improvisation on the cartridge part. They have some grooves to grab the tissue. That is why it's called the gripping surface. There are some other products within this category which have, like the earlier one, you would see only the cartridge is placed over here, rest the gun remains the same here as well. But what happens in this kind of a product, the cartridge itself has a shaft. So with the same gun, you can load 2 different sizes of cartridge. Like there are 3 different sizes of cartridge available in this particular category. You have 30 mm, 45 mm, and 60 mm cartridges, right? So with the same gun here, you can load 3 different type of cartridges. But in this type of a gun, you cannot. You need to have 3 different guns for 3 different sizes of cartridges, because this size remains constant. This doesn't change. So this is the blue part, the green part over here is the cartridge. But here, the entire thing is a cartridge. And there is another type which is called the varied staple height, wherein you have 3 different types of staples from outer end to towards the cut line, so that the tissue perfusion happens. We'll see it in the next slides also. These are some powered devices which are available in market. What we have to offer in this category is Mirus endoscopic linear cutter, which is available in white cartridge, which is for vascular to medium tissue, purple cartridge, which is for medium to thick tissue, and black cartridge for thick tissues. This image shows a cross section of the stepped staple cartridge. What happens? The staple, the surface of the staple appears like this. And because of this, and this is the anvil part of the stapler. When you grab the tissue within this, the compression towards the ends, towards the edges is lesser, while as the compression towards the center, towards the cut line is higher. How it helps is that since the major compression is required here and the fluid has to exudate from this place to this place. We have seen it in the slide where we talked about the tissue characteristics. Since tissue is biphasic in nature and it will exudate, this compression will exudate the fluid from the center to the edges so that you can have a proper staple formation without excessive compression or edges. Also, what it has to offer is the stepped staple technique. Suppose these are the 2 different varied staple techniques on the both sides of the cut line. What it offers is, since if the blood is flowing from this end to cut line, the perfusion is better. The perfusion of blood from this end to cut line is better. So what happens? It doesn't cause any tissue exchange. That's what is the benefit of having a varied staple size. As I said, it ensures better perfusion, minimizes tissue tension because of this design, offers optimal compression, and there's a new knife with every reload for precise tissue dissection. There are some more products in this category. We have Mirus powered endocutter with the unique 60-degree articulation. The powered endocutter has a battery, and it with the battery, just with one click, it can just cut the tissue without any fork deflection, and you can have precise transaction. This is one more product which has been designed by Merrill, just called the hybrid design, wherein you would look two different technologies combined together to give for the better patient outcomes. Like when you rotate this, it can be rotated with a single finger, and you can have the articulation with it over here, which is again a 60-degree articulation. Also, you can have an option to load cartridges of different types over here. So again, it gives you a compression, better compression, and ease of handling because of this technique. Moving on to the next category of products, which is ligating clips. What a ligating clip has to offer is precise tip-to-tip closure, grip on the blood vessels, surface-to-surface contact with jaw of clip applier, secure fixation, resistance to dislodgement from any blood vessel, and minimal vessel damage. In this category, these are the products that we have to offer. This is the laparoscopic clip applier, the single clip applier, wherein you put it on the clips and take it and put it inside the body and clip it. Then you have these kind of clip appliers which are for open surgeries. We have two types of clips in the market right now. This clip is U-shaped clip, and this one over here on the left side are V-shaped clips. In V-shaped clips, we have some more clips to offer. Like here, you will have 100, 200, 300, and 400 sizes. But here, we have 60, 80 also with us, which are usually used in cardiac surgeries. Other competitors and other companies which have similar kind of products in the market, these are some of them, wherein some are preloaded ones or some are single clip appliers. Next product is skin stapler. What has skin stapler to offer? The Mirus skin stapler covers the larger wounds. When you compare this product with all the companies in the market, it has the larger area to cover. That's all from my side. Thank you so much. And if at all there are any queries, please share it on the chat box so that we can address it. And also please allow me to share a video which talks about Merrill as such, Merrill endosurgery. Just give me a second.
Everything okay, Sudhir?
Just 1 second. There's some technical challenge. Just 1 second. Thank you, Christopher. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sudhir, for that. And if you have questions, doctors, kung may mga tanong tayo, magtanong lang po. We can unmute anytime. So meron tayong isang tanong coming kay Dr. Gulfan. Or we have one question to our panels coming from Dr. Gulfan. So the question is 4O the only barred suture available?
I would like to take this question and yeah, Christopher, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dr. Shudra.
Okay, Christopher. So I would like to answer Dr. Gulfan that 40 is not the only barb suture available. We have barb sutures available in multiple other sizes also in Merrill. And the sizes that are available presently are from size 1 to size 50. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? Or okay, we have another one coming from Dr. Miguel Mendoza. Are there any animal components like porcine, for example, for your sutures and also for your mesh products?
Okay, so
for mesh per se.
Yes, Amol.
Yeah. So for mesh per se, we do not have any product. We do not have any mesh which has an animal derivative as a anti-adhesive layer. We have PLCL, that is polylactide caprolactone, as an anti-adhesive layer. We do not have any mesh which is an animal derivative product.
So
yes, Shraddha, over to you.
Yeah. So for sutures, only the catgut is manufactured with the sheep submucosa, and other than the catgut, we do not have any other animal derivatives for any other sutures.
Okay, thank you, doctor. So doctors, only the catgut is the sutures that we have. So can you share contact number? Okay, Dr. Renee, I'll send you a private message. I'll share with you my contact number because PharmaStar is the partner, official distributor of Merrill Endosurgery here in the Philippines. So also Dr. Shraddha mentioned here that barred sutures are also available in other sizes from 1 to 50. So we have a wide range of sutures. So any other questions? Doctors, you can unmute. Pwede kayo mag-unmute, doctor, and pwede natin silang tanungin directly. Any other questions you have for the Merrill Endosurgery line? Anyway, while...
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Dr. Jose, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can they present researches or studies with the use of the technological advances that they have presented and dealing with maybe complications? Are there complications which have been noted in the use of these devices? So I'm after researches that have already been conducted because this is just a, I think, product presentation. Did you get my question?
Yes, loud and clear, Dr. Jose. I think, can you answer Amol or Sudhir?
I think I will answer on this.
Okay, Deepak, thank you.
Yes, so I think the question was on the research and the clinicals that we underdo for our products. And we definitely have done plenty of research on many of our products as of now. And we keep doing it with multiple country doctors as well going forward. So in case if you are interested in collaborating with us on the clinical trials and research, definitely we'll get in touch with you on specific product lines that you're interested in. Does that answer your question?
Offhand, can you give us some idea regarding the results of those researches?
Sure, we can share with Christopher the clinicals that we have, and then we can connect with you on those clinical papers that are already published.
Deepak, is it okay if we can show a few at right now?
We have on hemorrhoid stapler. So Sudhir, do you have immediately a snippet of that on PPH? Or on Mitsu-AB, Shraddha? Can we show any of those clinical papers that we have published?
Deepak, I have it on a presentation.
Okay.
So can I show
that?
that?
Yeah, just show us an option of that.
Yes, go ahead, doctor.
Just give me a second, please.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Jose, for this very engaging question. While Dr. Shraddha is preparing, we have another question from Dr. Maria Pilita. And the question is 7O absorbable suture with P1 needle available?
Sorry, can you come again with the question?
Is 7O absorbable suture with P1 needle available?
Okay, so we have 7O absorbable suture in multiple molecular formats. Like we have 7O absorbable in polyglactin, also in polyglycolic acid also. We have it in filapron also. That is a polypropylene. That is the polyglycapron, as well as we have it in the other absorbable, that is the polydioxanol. So we have in multiple molecule variants, we have the 7O suture available. P1 needle, I'm not sure what does she mean by the P1 needle.
Okay, thank you again for that, doctor. So we're just gonna wait for the few presentations.
Oh, I'm ready with the slide.
Go ahead,
here.
doctor.
Yeah,
Go
just
ahead.
I'll just present it. Hold on.
Or one last question from Dr. Miguel Mendoza again. Do you have biological products? Before we go with the...
Okay, I'll take this question, Christopher.
Yes, go ahead, Deepak.
We do not have we do not have a biological mesh at the stage. The reason for that, we shelved the project midway because globally the biological mesh have got very not so encouraging, I would say, clinical results compared to synthetic meshes, and the recurrence rates have been high, and the performance of biological meshes generally for hernia has not been superior to the synthetic mesh available. So even in European society, when we spoke about this biological mesh, they were not so keen on the use of biological mesh, except for certain indications like breast cancer surgeries or some other specific surgeries. It is there, but by and large, the way it was anticipated that the biological mesh would outshine the synthetic meshes, that was not the clinical finding, and hence we are not moving at the current stage. We're not moving in developing a biological mesh, though we had planned for.
Okay, thank you, Deepak, and thank you for answering the question. I think Dr. Shraddha, you can go.
Yes, Christopher, is my screen visible now?
Yes, your screen is visible.
For the clinical evidence of Mitsu-AB, we have done a comparative randomized control trial study, which was done between Mitsu-AB and the leading competitor in the market. And the clinical study was registered at the Clinical Trial Registry in India, and it has been published in the Journal of Indian Medical Association also, which is one of the most prestigious journals in India. So the randomized control trial, which was a prospective, multi-center, single-blinded, RCT trial done in India, in which we have used both the sutures in uterine suturing followed by abdominal suturing. While the follow-ups were done over a period of 14 days, 30 days, and 6 months from the day of surgery, and there were certain criteria which were judged on the basis of which the sutures were judged, among which was we had two criteria basically. One is safety endpoint and one is efficacy endpoint. In the safety criteria, the wound dehiscence was checked. So there was no case of wound dehiscence observed in both the suture usages, where both the sutures were used. And in the efficacy endpoint also, there were two criteria. One is a surgical site infection occurrence, and one is a length of hospital stay. In both the cases, the surgical site infection did not occur. In case of Mitsubishi, the length of hospital stay was little lesser than that of the other competitor. So that's how we were able to prove that it is as safe and effective as the traditional suture in the market, which is a leading competitor in terms of SSI prevention, wound dehiscence, and post-operative hospital care. This study was published in JIMA, as I said, that is the Journal of Indian Medical Association, and this is the original article which I can show here on my screen. So this is one of the studies. Of course, we have multiple other things. So I had this as a reference here. Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you, Doctor. We have a clarification from Dr. Maria Palita. She said that P1 is 11 millimeter 3/8 curve reverse cutting needle. That is P1. So thank you for that. And Dr. Jose, maybe we will connect with you to show you more information and studies that we have further for sutures and our other products as well, for the staplers and for the trackers and everything that we do.
Sure, Christopher. Christopher, I'd like to just clarify here to her that P1, as she said, is a small size needle, and this suture is available with us in the Mitsu variant and in the polydioxanone variant and in the polyclicapron variant. 3 of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also I would like to comment one thing here, that all the metal sutures are approved in Philippines and we have CPRS. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes.
And also, I would like to ask you, Dr. Shraddha, if we can share to our audience or would you like to say something, Dr. Jose? I saw you unmuted.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in studies on results of anastomosis, for example, using the devices, because that's a concern, depending on the competence, experience of the one using it. So have there been studies like this?
That's amazing, Dr. Jose. Thanks for your contribution.
No, Dr. Shraddha. Dr. Jose is asking, we had studies like that, studies for anastomosis and other things that is related.
Okay, so
yes,
Sudhir, I'd like to hand it over to Sudhir for this.
There are some studies right now. What I'm showing is one of the studies which is right now being conducted in Russia. I am Shenov, Russian Society of Colorectal Surgeons. I am Shenov, First Moscow State University, wherein they are checking the instrumentic leads. And so far now, the patients are very few, and we are waiting for it to get the results. By the end of this year, we are expecting the results to come. We have circular stapler which has got 3 rows. So this is a study on that.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Dr. Cueto. Dr. Cueto.
Thank you, Dr. Cueto, for that. Dr. Cueto, we will also connect with you. We will visit you one of these days so that we can further discuss about your concerns and queries with our products. And we would be happy to present to you everything that we have. And okay, any other questions? I think things have been answered already, and what I would like to do next is to finalize and do the other raffles that we have. We have other things to give away, like PPEs. We have PPEs, and we have 40 pieces of face shields to be given away, and 3 disinfection units that will be given away to 3 different hospitals. So let's first maybe we can start with our with the face shields. 40 pieces of face shield will go to one hospital. Let's check on where will it go. So let me just share the slide. Just a minute. Or let me just share my screen. Okay. So still 141 participants. So on the winner, if a name comes up, that will be the prize will go to the hospital affiliated to that doctor. Okay, so let's pick who will be the winner. Okay, Dr. Mary Ellen. Dr. Mary Ellen, congratulations from Iloilo. Wow, from Iloilo, congratulations. You, your institution won 40 pieces of face shields. Let me just write it down. I'll send you a message, doctor, and I'll give you my contact number. Okay, so this is face shields, 40 pieces. Okay, next is PPEs. So we have 20 PPEs that will be given away to one hospital. So pick. Okay, so let's pick again. Okay. So doctor already won, so let's pick another. Okay. Katrina Muico, Dr. Katrina Muico. I'll send you a message also, Dr. Katrina. You won 20 pieces of 20 pieces of PPEs to be used on your hospital. I'll send you a message, Dr. Katrina, so that you can have my contact number. Okay, and lastly, three disinfection kits for 3 different hospitals as well. Okay, so the first winner is gonna be from CEU, Dr. Joyce Dumalanta. Okay, so CEU, Dr. Joyce Dumalanta. Okay, so 1 disinfection kit for your hospital. The next winner is Adventist Medical Center Manila, Dr. Steffi Grace Cocos. Dr. Steffi Grace Cocos. Okay. from Adventist. Sorry. And then the last winner will be from Santi. Okay, let me check who Santa Cruz is so that okay, Dr. Joyce Santi Cruz. Okay. Okay, thank you. So I have the winners already. So I will message everyone that has won. So the winners are Ricardo for face shields, and then Dr. Katrina Muico for the disinfection kit, Dr. Joyce Dumalanta for disinfection kit as well, Dr. Strella Grace Cosco for disinfection kit, and lastly, Dr. Joy Santi Cruz. All right. Thank you so much. I'll be sending you a private message. So, do we still have more questions? So I think no more questions has been asked. So thank you so much for your time and for your effort. Let me just put my number in the chat. 514-0138. Okay. I sent my number in the chat so everyone can, or the winners can text me. And I'll ask help with Miss Marife for the other contacts that has not sent me a message yet. So, and thank you in behalf of Pharmastar and Meryl. I would like to thank everyone for participating and joining in this webinar and listening and engaging with us as well. And we would like to meet you all, especially when this we are already going around the hospitals and we are already meeting doctors with precautions, of course, with precautions and with everything that we do, so that we can engage and present our products more for the day. Dr. Gulfan, do you have anything to say before we end?
No, I think somebody is going to say the closing remark. Anyway, thank you so much to everyone who attended and to the leadership of Pharmastar and Merim from the board of Philippine Association of Training Officers in Surgery. And keep safe, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much for your time. And maraming salamat. Maraming salamat po sa lahat. Goodbye po. Salamat po. Thank you, doctors.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Salamat.
Thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Today, human lives are greatly affected by serious health challenges. In the modern times, health is no more an individual's concern. It requires a lot of care and support. Every day, doctors, patients, and nurses in over 140 countries trust us to overcome these complex and daunting health challenges. We are a global medical device company committed to create a healthier world and simply one happy community. Our culture of in-depth research forms the basis for innovations that can overcome these challenges and alleviate human suffering. Our family of designers, engineers, microbiologists work together to deliver state-of-the-art solutions that are effective, efficient, and never without a human touch.